Hello my friends and fellow VEDSies. Today I wanted to talk about something that I've been meaning to talk about all VEDS. It's something that I have found extremely helpful in the past several months, and I thought I would share my thoughts and experiences with you. And that thing is, of course, annotating my books. In case you're unfamiliar, annotating is the practice of marking up your book in various ways. This can be done with highlighters, tabs, sticky notes, writing in them, and while traditionally in academia the goal is to keep track of historical references or imagery or quotes that you want to cite, in casual reading you can annotate in any which way you'd please. Like in the spring when I read When You Wish Upon a Lantern by Gloria Chow, wonderful book by the way, I was keeping track of a lot of different things. And while it can certainly be argued that for an aspiring writer keeping track of great writing, and for someone who took 4 years of Mandarin to keep track of cultural elements and language that I recognized, the rest was very much for pleasure. I wrote things like LOL and XD in the margins, and highlighted whenever certain characters acted cute. Chapter 14 is called Inner Beauty, and I made a Little Shop of Horrors joke. It's not academic, but it's engaging. Similarly, I picked up A Deadly Inside Scoop at a local bookstore because it's a local dessert murder mystery, and how could I resist that? And my color coding dedicates colors to just Ohio shit, as well as trying to predict the murder mystery. Which will be very fun when I eventually reread this, because I will know everything and be able to see how I misinterpreted some of the clues. But that's not to say that my annotations don't have a more traditional academic validity sometimes. I reread A Tale of Two Cities for the first time since high school, and oh boy, are the things I was looking for the things that my AP Lit teacher would have been proud of. The light and dark imagery that is persistent throughout this book, things that I needed to look up either in the footnotes or straight up Googling because I just didn't know what they were. Duality, imprisonment, Christianity, beautiful writing, the reoccurring statements of Madame Defarge not seeing something or seeing something that kept popping up. Like, I still write it casually and make plenty of jokes, but this is a solid academic analysis of A Tale of Two Cities. And I go even further when I'm reading plays, because I think about it as an actor and a director as well. When I went back to Much Ado About Nothing, of course I was looking at things like gender and class, but I was also thinking about how would I stage this? What theming would it be? Do I want to reassign that line to somebody? Do I want to even include this? What's the scansion looking like? And yes, I did do all of the scansion because I find that fun. And so were I suddenly given the opportunity to direct a production of Much Ado About Nothing, I would already have a decent amount of the work put in. So I've talked about what I do, but I haven't talked about why I like to do it, because I mean, even I, for a long time, didn't like the idea of annotating my books. The first was that I wanted to be more mindful about what I was reading. You know, I'm an aspiring author and I'm editing my own novel, and so part of that is understanding what you do and what you don't like about other stories. And in the process of annotating these books, I can really pay attention to the writing style and moments of the writing that stick out to me. And if I was put in the position where I was just like, gosh, I need this scene to have a bit more great Tolkien writing vibes, I could pick up my copy of The Hobbit, open the cover, see that I colored orange as the great lines, and flip through and look for some orange parts, and get a little quick inspiration without having to reread the entirety of The Hobbit. And in the reverse, if there's a moment I don't like, I'm much more mindful of it because I had to stop, highlight it, and jot down what I was thinking about it. Annotating can also help keep track of confusing stories. I love Marion Lane and the Midnight Murder, but dear God, is there a lot going on, and without a map or anything, it gets complicated real fucking fast. And so these different tabs, keeping track of the different people, places, and pieces of technology throughout the book, were a godsend on my second time around, because that way I just remembered things and could much more easily keep track of what was happening or flip back if I needed to remember who someone was. These annotations also help me with my ADHD. You know, it can be tricky to read when you have ADHD. It's hard to focus on something for long, and it's hard to do something that doesn't immediately feel rewarding. And while I love reading, sometimes it doesn't feel rewarding. But you know what does feel rewarding? Getting to be like, ooh, 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 that's a mention of gender. Highlight. Something as simple as that helps me stay engaged in what I'm doing and gives me the motivation to continue with what I'm doing. It's just that little extra something that keeps my brain engaged and keeps me going back for more because I've found a way to make it a little more fun. And really, that's what reading for pleasure should be about. Having fun. And while some of this might not sound fun to you, it certainly is for me. Plus, these annotations are pretty. And it makes me happy, so I'm gonna keep on annotating. What about you guys? Do you annotate your books? Have you tried? Have you tried since high school when you were forced to by your English teacher? So I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on what I do, or what you do, or what you don't do because you don't like annotating your books, which is also very fair and valid. And with that, my friends and fellow VEDSies, I'll see you tomorrow.